other question I have is, say it isn't successful, if, you know, we want to be something, hope whatever you try to do is successful, but there's always that risk in this economic times. Will what you have written there, and what she gets, basically be identical, like as far as my concern is that somebody then takes it over who their retreats are more boisterous, more, you know, parties and that. The noise carries. The reason I live in the country is I don't want to hear my neighbors. And are we protected in any way from having to deal with listening to people's music and
the noise
and all that?
You know, that's something I can bring up to my attorney and see if there's a way that's.
Yeah, but you know, nothing is certain, you know, nobody's.
But there might be something.
But we certainly are trying to cover every base that we can, and if there are any suggestions.
The good thing about that farm, it has thousands of evergreens on it. And those evergreens are getting older every year. I mean, they're already 40 years old. But, you know, as long as they stay healthy, and they're going to get bigger and bigger and create even better sound barriers in the future, you know, as the trees do grow. But I will look into that.
Where do you stand on zoning for tonight in the future? Zoning issue of the property?
It was confirmed that we do need to apply to have the property rezoned commercial. And we will start that process probably the middle of October.
Yeah, probably within the next month. But before we did that, that's why this meeting is tonight. We wanted to let the community know what we're doing, tell them about the project, just so, you know, everybody knows the truth of the matter.
Is that a council vote, or is that a trustees vote, or is that a staff vote?
Dale might know better than we do. There are about 3 or 4 different things that have to happen. And if you want to answer that question, we'd be thrilled.
You would have to go before the zoning board of appeals and submit your application, and then they would have to determine what they want to do with it.
This hasn't been done before. Am I correct, in Milton Township for a while? I mean, a private individual.
For zoning, for
Yes.
commercial?
Yes.
I can't remember any you done. No.
Yeah. So, you know, it's something that they're going to think of. But it goes before them, and then where? Back to the township trustee.
The way I understood it was that it was submitted to the zoning inspector. He then takes it to the county planning commission, which then the county planning makes a recommendation. Then it comes to township zoning. They make a recommendation, and then it goes in front of the trustees, which then makes the decision.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's how
That's the way it was explained to me, and the way I understand it to happen.
Are there any more questions?
Yes.
We live on 1356, and if we look out our front window, we can see your sunflower field. And we were just wondering about the traffic, because we live on 30 acres and we like peace and quiet,
Absolutely.
and we'd like to have it stay that way.
I agree. And from a traffic standpoint, again, you're talking 16 cars, which is not a large increase from what already happens. The other 2 things that I would like to share just from my own observations is that there is a public golf course that currently attracts traffic down these streets, as well as a trucking company that brings dump trucks down the street. So from that standpoint, I don't think you're going to notice much more of an influx.
Please ask anything now. So
Yes,
you
this
don't,
is
you
the
know,
time to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm concerned about the Amish. There's Amish children walk that road every day, you know, and I've watched them, and they're pretty careful, but when you get city people out here, it's a different story than us people. We know they're there. And I'm really concerned for them and for the buggies, you know.
And I think that that's gonna be part of the education process, that people, when they learn and understand where that they're coming to, is that they need to change their habits. That's part of the, that's part of the attraction, is it is about paying attention to what's around you. So again, it's to me, it's more of an education from that standpoint, and awareness. I will tell you personally, one of the things I've been concerned about is the railroad crossing. That's a concern of mine.
That's not as big a deal as it used to be.
Let me tell you, there's a 15-mile-an-hour limit on that railroad.
Twice a day.
Oh, it only comes twice a day? Okay, well, I didn't know that, and I was like, okay, there's a problem.
And you never know when it's gonna be.
Right.
But that's a concern, I mean, that's a concern.
You stop and stop.
It is between a 15 and 20-mile-an-hour speed limit on that.
But you know, that's an interesting thing for her to add to her brochure once it gets started, is a brochure that says, you know, we do have Amish neighbors, you know, be careful, and we also want peace and quiet, you know, those.
If there's anybody in this room though that hasn't been scared half out of their vehicle by that train coming through there.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'll tell you, Beatty Road and West Main would scare me worse than the railroad.
You ought to be on a tractor with your back to that train when it comes back there, about 15 feet from you, let me tell you.
Yes.
I would like to revisit the question of alcohol use. Will you require an alcohol permit for that location if alcohol is consumed there,
Absolutely,
considering that it is across the street from an Amish school?
absolutely. And it's not something that I will encourage either, but again, from a responsibility and liability standpoint, absolutely.
That's a concern of mine too, because there could be a lot of rowdy stuff going on eventually. You never know what people are going to do when they start drinking. I know that. I've been a long time.
I'm sure.
Well, one thing though, you're going to be living there. So,
Exactly.
you're going to be there to watch over things.
Absolutely. And
No, and I think that makes a difference with her being there and having children herself and being concerned. I think that'll be.
It's not like a big hotel where she has lots of employees, Wendy is.
That's what I wonder about the competition. The hotels and motels in the cities surely will be competition, won't they?
No, it's not the same. This is more of a sustainable education as much as anything.
Different venue.
and it's giving them a different, again, if you think about it when you go to a hotel, and even if you go with a few people, you're just a number. And let's say your group wants to get together in the common area, you're gonna get together to go out to dinner or whatever it is. If you go down into this common area, and actually we did it this summer, we were traveling for baseball, and all the baseball families wanted to get together for whatever it is. Well, you come down to this area and now you're sharing this space with everyone. So you can't really talk, you can't really connect. So again, what are your options then? To go get together in someone's hotel room? No, so this, from a competition standpoint, there's nothing like it. There's no other venue in the city that offers this type of opportunity for